This is the entire history of Christmas in Call of Duty. To start things off, we have to go all the way back to Christmas of 2007 during Call of Duty 4. They released the very first themed map called Winter Crash, or Christmas Crash as most people called it, and it's exactly what it sounds like, a winter version of Crash. Layout-wise, it was exactly the same, but now it took place at night, covered in a dusting of snow and decorated for the holidays. It even had a nice big Christmas tree in the middle by the downed helicopter, and even sleigh bells would ring whenever someone called in an airstrike. It was a fun little surprise that Call of Duty had never really done before, but it was also the last one they do for quite a while. It wouldn't be until 6 years later in 2013 that COD Ghosts would release a small festive pack as their big holiday celebration, consisting of an emblem, a player card, a reticle, and a camo. But that was really the full extent of holiday events during this time. Now on the bright side though, the festive pack was free for everyone who logged in, something that modern day Activision should really take note of. A few years later in 2015, Black Ops 3 would be the first COD to start introducing official in-game events, and although they didn't have one specifically for the holidays, they did release a snowy version of the map Redwoods, which fit into the festive aesthetic perfectly. Now the only problem is it came out in March, so it's not technically a Christmas map, but it's definitely in the same ballpark. Now in Infinite Warfare, this was the first game to bring in a true holiday themed event. While there wasn't an official name for it yet, every day during the holidays you could log in and receive a handful of different personalization items with a 12 days of Christmas kind of vibe. In addition, they brought in a variant of the map Genesis, which similar to Holiday Crash took place at night and was covered in decorations, although they forgot about the snow. I don't know if it was a budget thing or because meanwhile, that same year, Modern Warfare Remastered released its own holiday event, which honestly kind of blew Infinite Warfare's right out of the water. Now, firstly, they faithfully remade Christmas Crash from the original game, and this one was just beautiful. And it actually dialed up everything to 11. More lights, more decorations, more Easter eggs to discover, and more little festive touches, like players exploding into gifts when killed. Plus, they included 2 new Christmas camos as part of their Operation Arctic Wolf event, both earnable by completing challenges on the new map. Throughout the year, both Infinite Warfare and Modern Warfare Remastered would hold a handful of other events on that level, including Days of Summer and Shamrock and all for St. Paddy's Day. And clearly Activision saw how much people love these seasonal events, because from this point on, just about every single Call of Duty had some sort of holiday event every December, although some were bigger than others. Now, for instance, World War II released that very next year with the Winter Siege event, which this saw the headquarters get a snowy and decorative reskin. Plus, they introduced Winter Carrington, a blizzardy take on the Call of Duty classic map. Plus, in supply drops, there were 5 wintry weapon blueprints for the Gewehr, I think I said that right, the Sten, GPMG, the knife, and a new ice pick. On top of that, Sledgehammer brought in our first holiday-themed game mode, Wintry Gun Game. If I remember correctly, it was just pretty much standard gun game that happened to be released during the event. Black Ops 4 was up next, and here's where it starts to get a little underwhelming again. Treyarch introduced a brand new event called Operation Zero, a cool name for what was basically just a mini battle pass with 20 tiers of war paints, stickers, and gestures. Thankfully, on the Blackout side of things, they had a small update to the map, including softened lighting that was kind of holiday-ish, but overall, it was a pretty underwhelming year in terms of Christmas events. In 2019, Modern Warfare rebooted the franchise in a realistic and gritty fashion, and because of that new direction, many weren't expecting them to go crazy for the holidays, but there was a little something. The gunfight map Docks received a winter makeover, just like Crash and Carrington did in years prior. Now they added snowballs to the map that you could pick up, and they even added a practice round to each game where both teams had to have a big one-life snowball fight. Now also on this map, there was actually a little Easter egg where you would see Santa fly across and the clock would strike and lightning would go all over the place. Honestly, a really cool Easter egg that you can no longer access because the map doesn't exist. Honestly, all these were a great time, and fitting that from this point on, holiday events would start to snowball into something bigger and bigger each year. Following 2019 was Black Ops Cold War, which followed the trend of winterizing a fan favorite map, and of course they had to go with Nuketown. Now it's another fantastic looking night and snowy variant, with lights hung on each house as if the mannequins themselves put them up to get in the spirit. In addition, over in Zombies, Treyarch developed the first iteration of Jingle Hells, a new mode that similarly reskinned the first map, Die Machine, to add a few decorations here and there. Plus, there were presents that dropped from random equipment, and a new Naughty or Nice power-up that either dropped more presents for you or spawned a bunch of Plague Hounds for the next 30 seconds. Overall, it was one of the best events yet, leading perfectly into next year's festive fervor in Vanguard. Along with a handful of challenges to unlock new calling cards, emblems, and sprays, there were a few new store bundles and even 12 days of deals event going on in the store. Yeah, if you couldn't tell, this was about the time that the focus of these seasonal events shifted more to just selling microtransactions. But in terms of content, there was actually a pretty decent offering. This year would be the first instance of Shipmas, a holiday take on the classic Tiny map, as well as a new mode called Armageddon, which was basically just drop zone from previous games. Then over on Zombies, there wasn't too much compared to last year, but the map saw a few small decorative changes like Christmas lights and wreaths scattered around the main area. But this year also saw its holiday event move over into Warzone 2, where they added festive fire trees all around the map that you would need to secure. And this would allow you to earn better and better loot the longer you held the position. But then there was possibly the most controversial new addition in Christmas event history, Krampus. In-game Krampus would spawn in every 3 minutes and would viciously hunt down a random team. Yeah, it's a fun idea on paper, but in reality, all that meant was every few minutes you had the most random chance of being third-party by a literal monster, giving away your position at best, and at worst, wiping out your entire squad. A lot of you probably have very bad memories with that game.
I can't. I just get this mother out the fucking game!
Now, next year was the infamous Modern Warfare 2, which saw the return of Shipmas, although obviously based on this game's version taking place on a boat, and ironically, this version was actually a lot brighter than the standard version due to the snow and the lights illuminating the relative darkness of the original. On top of that, though, the only other holiday-themed piece of content was just a new bundle for an operator named Claws, costing 2,400 COD points and coming with a few blueprints and cosmetics. Overall, it was a little lackluster, which was pretty fitting for MW2. But my friends, there is good news. Sledgehammer Games made up for it in the next year in MW3 with what might be the best holiday event to date. First, Shipmas returned for the third year in a row, but this time going for a darker tone with dead bodies thrown around the map and skulls appearing outside of the map. Honestly, it was a little weird. They also released a second map, a New Year's themed take on High Rise called Hangover, which covered it in snow and redressed the interiors as if the map takes place during Activision's holiday party with a dance floor in the middle of their cubicles. Multiplayer also saw two new modes. First was Infectious Holiday, which was a variant on Infected, but the survivors were all reindeer and the zombies were Santa Claus. Then was Snow Fight, an evolution to the snowball-only gunfight round back in 2019. The goal was pretty simple: win a snowball fight. The zombies mode didn't get a ton of love holiday-wise, but the zombies themselves were given Christmas reskins, and the map was littered with snowballs that players could pick up and freeze zombies with, which was nice, although it was a minor addition. And lastly, over in Warzone that year, they also went all out with a map reskin covering Urzikstan in a light dusting of snow, plus bringing back the loot-filled Christmas trees and adding a zombie Santa riding the train throughout the map. That, if killed, would give players special rewards. All wrapped with Santa's sleigh ground in-game event, cool challenges to complete, and eventually you would earn an ugly sweater blueprint for the DG58. Now this brings us to the most recent holiday event in Black Ops 6, which is also pretty solid. First, there's two different in-game events, and while the first, Merry Mayhem, saw a bit of controversy for allegedly using AI to create the rewards, the second event, Archie's Festival Frenzy, acts like an advent calendar, letting you choose what to blindly unlock next. Now, unfortunately, this one was also bugged, and for many people, they were given enough tokens to unlock everything immediately, so they never got to actually take part part in the event, but it was a cool concept. Then Nuketown Holiday returned, but this time based on the original non-destroyed version of Nuketown, making it even more festive. Plus, Infectious Holiday returns with a new mode, Ransack, a variant of Ransack where you need to capture cookies from the central point and return them to your base. Now, over on Zombies, Jingle Hells returns much like in Cold War with a snowy Liberty Falls variant and a new edition of frozen rounds that will freeze and slow players if they're caught outside and force them into buildings to warm up. Finally, for Warzone players, there's a new mode, Holiday Rush, which combines all the greatest hits of Holiday Warzone events in the past, adding snowballs and decorations to Area 99, along with those loot trees to secure, and even a little Santa Claus riding his nuclear-powered sleigh around, watching over everyone. And there you have it. That is just about everything. The entire history of Christmas in Call of Duty. Now, my question to you is, what's your favorite Christmas item or event or bundle or whatever? Let me know in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this type of video, leave a like, subscribe if you're new. Merry Christmas. We'll see you in the next one.